What is going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. I'm so excited for today's episode. We're talking everything Mega Evolution, everything that's going on. The UK has had their drop of Mega Evolution, so we can go into all the price data there. We'll also, as always, keep you up to date with everything going on in the sealed market, from all of Scarlet and Violet, all of Sword and Shield, all of my price recommendations on what to buy and when, where everything is going in the market. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. Today we are kicking off today's episode by talking about Mega Evolution. I know, crazy, I'm not starting with Destined Rivals for once. Mega Evolution, I have some great news that finally it shipped to us in the UK. So we finally have our release like three and a half weeks later, which is kind of crazy because it's not going to be long until Phantasmal comes out, and we've only just got our Mega Evolution come. So there's lots of happy people here in the UK. So let's have a look at what's going on in the US and the UK markets for Mega Evolution. I personally opened up one booster bundle of it. I'm kind of like getting into that stage now where I'm opening up one booster bundle. If I get a PC drop and I get like the two PC ETBs and the booster box, that's fine for my seal collection. But yeah, opened up a bundle, actually really enjoyed opening it. I ended up pulling the Venusaur full art, which I'm really happy about. Not a super valuable card, around like $20-$30, but considering it came from a bundle, not too bad. But that is a card that I will keep in my personal collection, in my binder, for a long time. I am a huge Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur fan. Bulbasaur was always my starter as well. Comment down below if you think that Bulbasaur was the best starter. I'm a classic Gen 1 OG. So let's talk about Mega Evolution and see what's going on in the markets. If you're new to the channel, I compare both US and UK markets, so wherever you are in the world, hopefully you will get something from this channel. And each and every Saturday, I bring you everything that's going on data-wise with sealed product. I make my recommendations on when is a good time to buy different things if it was me in my position. Just a full disclaimer though, this is not financial advice, this is just what I would do and how I'm observing the markets with someone that's been collecting sealed products for nearly 10 years now. We started at Evolutions in XY, which is just coming up to 10 years old next year. Anyway, let's have a look at Mega Evolution. Massive set, so cool, so many good chase cards. So gold cards are hard to hit as well, so just so fun to open up a set where there's really valuable rare hits to get as well. But just the whole set in general, I think that Pokemon absolutely smashed it out of the park. It is technically a base set, Mega Evolution, and I think that it's one of the best base sets ever out there. The reason why I say it's technically a base set and not really is because Mega Evolution, or like just the Mega era as a whole, is just going to be like a short kind of bonus era. The way I've sort of been describing it to some people is it's almost like a bonus level at the end of a computer game. You know, we completed Scarlet and Violet, and now we're getting a little bonus round where we can run around and pick up some lovely cards. Right. So last week on TCG Player, prices were $301 on the average, and this week we're seeing $310, so it's up around about 3%, slowly climbing up in price in the US. And I think that's partly due to the fact that where it's been out for a little while, I think that so much product has been ripped of this set, and booster boxes are just becoming a little bit scarce to find. I think there's lots of other product around on the market. There's lots of booster bundles, sleeve packs, elite trainer boxes, that kind of thing. But booster boxes are just getting a little bit rare. We are expecting to see another wave of booster boxes hit the US, a slightly smaller wave, but still a significant wave of product to hit the US markets over the next week or two. I don't know the specific date that is coming out. It might be later this week. Not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, another about 40% of the total allocation of Mega Evolution, because it was a split release, so you got about 60% on the first drop, and then you're getting about another 40% of product coming in the next week or two. So Price is slowly climbing on the booster box. It is just a fantastic set and so fun to rip. Last sold on eBay US, new listing tag $303, bought out straight away. If we scroll down as well, normal Elite Trainer box, new listing, bought out straight away for $88. Here in the UK, like I said, we finally got product here, so we can actually look at prices in the UK because it's stuff in hand, it's not pre-orders. I was very lucky myself. Like I said, I got the 2 PC ETBs, a booster bundle, and the booster box, so I'm very happy with that. But we opened up the bundle because why not, and I had a great time opening that. Last sold in the UK, 240 quid for the enhanced version, and another one here for 250, both sold this morning, so quite a bit of a premium over retail. I think that in the long haul, when we're talking about investing, when we're talking about keeping a sealed collection for at least 2 years at a minimum, I think that 240 is a very reasonable price for Mega Evolution. And it's going to be one of those where I think that you blink and then it's gone. Like, it probably will get more reprints over the next year, but I don't think they're going to be significant enough to affect wherever the price is at that time. I expect this box will quite comfortably climb up to around $500 plus before it goes out of print. So in about 12 months to 16 months time, I think that it will be knocking on the door of $400, $500, and then when it goes out of print, who knows? I think that it's going to do quite well. Very iconic set. People are really enjoying opening it. Has a lot of good chase cards in it too. Just good feels all around. I love the black box design as well. I know some people don't like it. I think it personally looks really good and it's really iconic as well. Displays quite well. And the PC ETBs and the normal ETBs display so good. That Lucario one especially just looks amazing. When you put it side by side by the Crown Zenith as well, they look so good together. And there's definitely a bit of a nod to the old Crown Zenith design of the Elite Trainer box, which I like. Me personally, with sealed collecting, I love collecting Elite Trainer boxes and, well, now booster boxes as well, that just have a bit more of that darker design. I think that some of the best looking Pokemon sealed products have those kind of colours, the black and the gold and stuff like that, like your Crown Zenith, like your Champion's Path, like Mega Evolution's Lucario, Elite Trainer box. I just think that that is when they really knock the design out of the park. There's others as well, even like the Crown Zenith Elite Trainer box Plus, or the PC ETB even, where that has like the longer design. Just looks super cool in my opinion. I love it when Pokemon goes on more of sort of like that dark theme. I think it looks really premium. Anyway, 240 quid in the UK. I think it's an absolute steal. The reason why it's that kind of price is because people are just, you know, choose what word you want to use. Dump it, scalp it, whatever. Technically that is scalping because they're selling it on day one. So yeah, technically it's scalping. But I have no problem buying more boxes for 240 quid, and that's the enhanced version as well with the Bulbasaur box topper, which is actually going for a decent price as well. That's going for around about $30 on top, so that's something to bear in mind. People are doing sneaky stuff like this. Be careful of this. This box is selling for $240 nearly, and it's a non-enhanced version, and look how they just conveniently took a photo of it where the part of the box that shows whether it's enhanced or not is the furthest away from the camera. Just be very careful at this stage, especially if you're in the UK where all the products just dropped. I'd only be buying enhanced boxes unless they're considerably cheaper than the enhanced boxes, because that Bulbasaur card is going for a decent amount of money, and I think that long term that card will climb up in value as well. But we don't like to comment on singles and promos too much because our expertise really lies with sealed product. Let's then talk about Destined Rivals. Well, hey, we got there. Destined Rivals is my favourite set of the Scarlet and Violet era. I think I've made that very clear over the last, well, basically 3 months since it's been out. I famously bought into it very early on release for way over retail. and did very well out of it, despite people telling me that I was stupid buying in for $180, $200 a box on release. And we're looking pretty good on that investment. But we're holding it for the long term. So even though we're seeing some dips down in price here, so last week it was at $423, and we're seeing a bit of a reduction in price. Look at this. 47 boxes dumped at once for $370, which is the lowest we've seen it go for a little while. So Destined Rivals, let's calculate that out. 423 to 370, down $53 on that big dump. Someone liquidating and taking some money. You just don't know what's going on in the market. They could have picked up all of those for retail, or a little bit above $200 a box like me, and they've doubled their money already within 3 months. So you've got to bear in mind as well that a lot of attention is going on to the Mega Evolution, and also a lot of attention will be going on to Phantasmal Flame as it comes out. People have got pre-orders that they'll need to be paying for as well soon. So I do expect normal price reductions a little bit on some of the sets that have been out for a little while, and stuff like Destined Rivals. You've got to remember that Destined Rivals is still right up there at like nearly $400 a box for a set that's only about 3 months old. It is still performing insanely well and is the best performing box of the modern era for the amount of time that it's been out. I've had a lot of questions over the last week or so with people saying, will Mega Evolution perform as well as Destined did out of the gate? Honestly, I think that's unlikely. I think that Mega Evolution will perform very well, but Destined was something else out of the gate. We've never seen some spikes up in price like that. I've had comments, people saying, oh yeah, but you don't know what you're talking about. That happened with Roaring Skies and stuff like that. How old is Roaring Skies, guys? It's what, 10, 12, 13 years old now? Are we really trying to compare the market nowadays to a box that came out 12, 13 years ago? Can you imagine if you were investing on the stock market and buying Apple stock because 13 years ago it did this in the market? That's an absolutely ludicrous statement to be making. And that's why we bring you the data each and every week, because we need to know what's going on in the market now. We're in a new market. Like, this is one of the craziest bull runs, one of the craziest hype cycles, bubbles, whatever you want to call it, that I've ever seen in the Pokemon hobby, and that most people have ever seen. If you talk to anyone who's been in the Pokemon hobby for a decent amount of time, I'm talking multiple years, have seen multiple eras of product that have passed, whether they're seal collectors or just normal collectors or pack rippers or whatever. Anyone who's been around for a while in the community will tell you that this is like nothing else. The demand that there is at the moment is absolutely nuts, and it's a fantastic time to be part of the hobby. There's so many people that moan and cry and say, yeah, but I want to get stuff for retail price. Well, I'm sorry, we're in a different market right now, and I personally love it. I love having higher prices. Make of it what you will. Where I've been doing this for a long time now, nearly 10 years, as I said, I've learned to make money at every single stage of the product life cycle, and it really is as simple as that. Just be prepared to hold product for a decent amount of time, and you will ride out any dips in the market or anything like that. And stuff like this, like Destined Rivals dropping from at the start of or the end of September from 467 a box to 370, just becomes nothing. Because when you zoom out on these charts, look, it hasn't even been out for that long, but look, if you look at like release here, it's just upward trajectory, just straight upward trajectory if we take the average of what's going there. Destined Rivals is a great set. It's a very iconic set as well, and I think that people are starting to take that eye off the ball with it, and that just means that there's more opportunities for it. I'm back in Destined Rivals as one of the top sets, if not the top set of Scarlet and Violet. And if you look back to any era at what the prices are doing when it's out of print of the top sets, that should give you your answer on where I think Destined Rivals is going long term. So Destined Rivals is technically down a little bit this week, but it's just another opportunity to buy. Do I think there'll be reprints over the next year or so? Yes, I think more product will hit the market. Will that be booster boxes or not, though? We're not sure. Be prepared to hold sealed product for at least 2 years minimum, and you will ride out any potential drops in the market. I don't think buying in at this price is bad. Show me any Sun and Moon box that is under $370 that's a top set. Show me any top set from Scarlet and Violet, from Sword and Shield that is $370. I mean, you could argue like, yes, Silver Tempest is like knocking on the door of 500, but come on, guys. We all know, I think everyone in the hobby knows where Destined Rivals is going long term. It's going to be $1,000 plus box. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take to get there. Is it going to take 2 years for it to get there? Is it going to take 5 years for it to get there? But I don't think anyone is in disagreement that the most likely scenario that it will go to over $1,000 a box, and probably quite a bit beyond that. So I just see this as semantics. I see this as just another opportunity to increase your position while people start to dump or take profits and roll money into the mega era, because that is the new hot thing. I've been saying it quite a lot in my videos recently, that a lot of the hobby and a lot of the community are always focused on whatever's right in front of them, the new hot thing. Everyone's talking about Mega Evolution at the moment. That'll shift to Phantasmal Flames soon. People are starting to take that eye off of Destined Rivals. I think Destined Rivals will continue to climb once you start looking at the long term. I would be happy to buy more Destined Rivals. Look at this, last sold eBay US $280. Last sold UK 379 quid. And that is on an auction as well from yesterday. Here's another one on a buy it now. 384 quid. These are all-time highs here in the UK. US, you're getting a very decent price. Under $300 a box is nuts. It's got the new listing tag, so it got bought out straight away. Someone realised that was a bargain. If that was one of you guys that picked that up, well done to you. That's what this channel is all about, teaching you about what is going on with the prices so that you can identify those bargains properly and quickly, and you can just move quickly because you just instantly know that 280 for a Destined Rivals sealed box is an instant cop, because it's just easy free money at that point. Okay, let's talk about Prismatic Evolutions. When we are talking about easy free money, no better set to talk about than Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions has been and still is one of the easiest plays in the market. In my opinion, there's no way that Prismatic Evolutions doesn't increase in price. We've been calling it since it was $100 a box, since it was readily available in Costco, since everyone was saying that it was a doomed box and they're printing it into the ground. And okay, never really dropped below $100, which is what we called, and now it's starting to increase in price week on week. Let's have a look at what's going on with the prices. Last week it was $133. Now it's last sale $153, so it's up $20 on 133. Prismatic Evolutions up 15%. Still a lot of people waiting for it to be MSRP. I think they're going to be waiting a long time, to be honest. I think you'll miss the boat if you're waiting for that. It's just mad. Even at this price point, even at this $153, I still think it's an instant buy. Especially when you've seen how other popular Electrona boxes have done in the era. Paldean Fates, 151. I mean, just look at 151. 151's knocking on the door of $400. I think Prismatic Evolutions will go up to that as well. It just needs some time to run. And I'm telling you, once it goes out of print, telling you, the Eevee boys, the Eevee chase cards, there's just nothing like it. There really isn't in this market. Pokemon know what they're doing. Last sold in the US. Look at this, $124. $125. Another one, $125. Guys, this is the easiest play in the market right now. Buy some Prismatic Evolutions, put it away, forget about it. You know, just sit on it for a couple of years. I think you'll do very well out of it. I hold quite a lot of prismatic, and I'm still buying more prismatic. Absolutely love it. Last sold in the UK, £160 all in for a normal Elite Trainer box. That is climbing up in price. That's right up there at all-time highs. And the PC ETB is climbing as well, £343. Let's then talk about Journey Together, and we're going to move on. Journey Together, I find it so funny what's going on with Journey Together, because Journey Together is sitting right there at that $260 mark, which we kind of said was like a little bit too expensive a few weeks ago. Now everything else has kind of caught it up a little bit. I think that $260 is actually quite a fair price for Journey Together. Some of the cheapest booster boxes and also the mid booster boxes in the Scarlet and Violet era are all right on that $260 mark. So I think that that is where it should be right now, and I don't think it's a bad buy, because I don't think it should be one of the cheapest boxes of the Scarlet and Violet era. I think that it's sort of mid to high tier box compared to everything around it, and yeah, I think it's a decent buy long term. If you can catch someone lacking on eBay and dumping this for anywhere below 260, anywhere below market, I think it's an instant buy. Let's have a look at prices. Last week 257, this week 258. Basically the same, less than a 1% rise, but chilling at its all-time high. Basically it's all-time high there. Yeah, 261, so it's dead on its all-time high. It's poised in a nice place where it could see some upward pressure in a little bit of time. Not a terrible buy, Journey Together. Last sold in the US, there you go, 260 for the enhanced box, and that was bought out straight away as well. Last sold in the UK, £195, just sub 200. That's non-enhanced though, and like this is what's interesting, because we were commenting on this a few weeks ago that the enhanced version of the booster box is a lot rarer here in the UK, and you're seeing this even more now. Now you're barely seeing them on the market, because the ones that were around were getting bought up by sealed collectors. So look, 195 non-enhanced, look, 191 non-enhanced, 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 non-enhanced. I'm scrolling through days and days of eBay sales here, and there's not an enhanced one for sale. Look, non-enhanced, non-enhanced, non-enhanced. There's another one. I'm struggling to find an enhanced version. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Finally, we get to an enhanced version that was sold 3 days ago. How many boxes did we have to go through for that? And it's selling for 312 quid for the enhanced version. It's nearly it's over 50% more than the non-enhanced. Non-enhanced is 200 quid. Enhanced is 312. Kind of crazy, just because that's what that rarity, like that's the disparity, and the US market doesn't have that because they have a lot more enhanced versions. But you're seeing sort of ahead of time how the rarity and the scarcity of a product can really affect its price in terms of collectors. How many sales did we have to go through to find one there? That was about 20 sales. We had to go through about 3 days of sales data to actually find an enhanced one. So very interesting. We'll be keeping a close eye on that going forward. Let's then talk about 151 Elite Trainer boxes, as we were just talking about earlier. Chilling at the $400 mark, which it has done since about mid-September. We've said for a long time that the $400 mark is just a psychological price point for it to break through. And once it does eventually break through, we saw this with some booster boxes over the last few months, particularly like Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest. They were struggling to go over that $400 mark, and then we saw the quick run up to $500 once they break through, because there's not much stopping them between 400 and 500, and I think 151 is going to see the same. We are seeing a few sales though over the last few days, right up there at 430, 440. Those are all-time highs, and then there's just one last sale at 400 on a dump. So I think really it's starting to climb, and it's starting to break through that $400 mark, and then it's just sort of magneting back to that 400 mark, which is originally it was obviously the ceiling of the price, and now it's starting to become the floor of the price. So it's starting to break out through, and then now when it drops, it just drops to 400, and then it will start bouncing off of 400 and then climb up to 500. We've kind of called it the whole way, and it's, you know, doing exactly what we called, that it's just going to bounce around 400 until we see significant breakout on it, which I'm very confident it will do. It just needs a little bit of time in the market. And I'm telling you, they're not making any more of these anymore. The chances of them reprinting 151 Elite Trainer boxes at this stage are very, very slim. And I think that it's going to continue to run up in price over the next 12 to 24 months. The last sold in the US is just under $400. There you go. $389, bouncing around that $400 mark. Someone picked one up here. New listing tag 384. I think that that's a very good buy at this stage, and probably your last opportunity over these next couple of weeks to buy in for anything sub $400. Like I said, once it breaks 400 consistently, I think it will have a pretty easy run up to $500, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll probably have a little dance around $500. Last sold in the UK, 363 quid, really up there in price and at an all-time high here in the UK as well. Let's then move on to Surging Sparks. Surging Sparks is on sale this week a little bit as well. Definitely some bargains to be had in the market as there's a bit of price correction. Last week it was up at $284. This week it is down to $274. So down $10, which is 4.5%, about that. Just on sale a little bit. You've got to bear in mind, right, $274 for Surgeon. It's already hit an all-time high recently of over 300 a box. I think it's an excellent time to buy. I would have said buying in at 300 a box was a good buy, but definitely if you can get in at this sort of 270 kind of mark. If you look at what else is around it, you've got like Journey Together, you've got Temporal and Paradox like almost overtaking it and trying to, well, Paradoxes as well. It's trying to push up over Surging Sparks, or it did over the last week or two. We'll get into that in a minute. It's actually now cheaper than Surging Sparks, which we did call was going to happen. Just looks like a good buy. Just looks like this is a good opportunity to buy in for a slightly cheaper price. I think anything under $300 for a Surging Sparks minty sealed booster box is a really good buy if you're willing to put that away. It is a fan favorite set. It performed really well, a lot better than a lot of people thought it was going to as well. It performed better than I thought it was going to as well. I currently own one booster box of it, which I bought for retail off of Pokemon Center. I was lucky and just got a restock on that for £164, I think. Yeah, last sold in the US, $250. That is such a good deal. New listing tag as well, minty box. That's about 50 quid below market, or at least where market was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Hopefully that was one of you guys. I'm always super happy to hear what you guys are picking up and what deals you guys are getting. So comment down below. I do actually read every single comment, unlike a lot of people in the Pokemon space. And it's not their fault. It's just they get so many comments that they can't keep up with them. But I love hearing what you guys are buying and what you guys are picking up. Are you buying heavy into Mega Evolution? Are you opening some like I am? I know it's sinful that I run a sealed channel, but I'm opening product. But I'm also a collector as well. And I have been enjoying ripping a few packs as well. I actually opened a prismatic bundle this week as well. But it's okay because it got shipped to me damaged. So we ended up opening it up. And I've had really bad luck actually with product from eBay here in the UK. The last 3 things I've ordered, I've had problems with. So I ordered a prismatic bundle, which came crushed. So I ended up opening that up. I got this Eevee promo slab in a 9. And I don't know if you can see on camera, it has a massive crack down the middle. And it is cracked all the way through. If I take it out of the team bag, it just comes apart into 2 pieces. Really disappointing. The card is actually ruined on the inside as well, so I can't even have the raw because it's creased down the middle where it bent. Like you might be able to see, the whole slab will just bend. Terrible. Got my money back on eBay for that, and I also bought the Sleepy Zard from the 151 Ultra Premium collection. Bought that in a PSA 9. I already owned it in a roll, but it's one of my favourite cards, so I bought that in a slab, and it got lost in the post. So my last 3 orders from eBay are crushed, slab split in half, and slab lost in the post. So really upset about that. I will briefly comment on what I think is going on with eBay at the moment. This is strictly in the UK. There are a lot of problems with eBay UK. Essentially what they've done, and US viewers may find this interesting, is they force everyone who's not a business seller to, so anyone with a private eBay account, to ship through what they're calling simplified delivery, which means that they automate the process and they choose the shipping courier for you and print the label, and they choose the worst shipping courier around, the cheapest one. And it's just so bad for sealed and slab collecting because there's just no care. Items go missing, stuff comes, cracked and stuff like that. That cracked slab is not actually the courier's fault. That was shipped to me in just a padded envelope, which is absolutely diabolical for a slab. So that is the seller's problem. I did end up getting my money back for that. And again, the crushed prismatic bundle, the whole box was completely crushed. It was not even shipped in a box. It was shipped in a plastic bag, plastic mailing sack. So these sellers, it's part of the problem when the market is like this. When the market is like this, you get all the new scalpers in the market, and they just don't know how to ship product. It's all new eBay stores. But some of the big eBay stores as well. I mean, the Sleepy Zard that got lost in the mail, obviously that's not the seller's fault, it got lost in the mail, but I noticed he hadn't dispatched it for 7 days. So I messaged him and was like, yo, can you dispatch it, or can you give me some tracking or something like that? And he was like, oh yeah, sorry, didn't even realise I'd sold it. This guy has a slab store on eBay. He's selling, I think he had about 20 different slabs that were listed. Some of them really expensive as well. So partly it's eBay's fault for doing the simplified delivery nonsense. I feel like the EU is a bit of a guinea pig a lot of the time with eBay, and I think that they probably will trial something like that with us, see how it goes, and then if it goes well, then they'll roll it out to the US. Imagine you're in the US, and if you're not a business seller, they choose the courier for you. I don't know who the worst couriers are in the US, but just imagine you don't have a choice in that. Not good for the hobby, not good for us, because we are collecting and buying stuff that's sometimes very expensive, and condition is everything. So really disappointing, particularly with when you're buying sealed product of like new stuff as well, because in a market like this, you can't wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks for this to be resolved by eBay and for you to get your money back and order another one, because by the time you order another one in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, the market's moved on and you're going to have to pay another $100, $200. So it is a very costly problem. Like I said, last 3 orders from eBay have all had problems with them. So it's not a great time. I'd love to see eBay get their act together, because it is primarily where I buy all of my sealed product, and I don't feel confident in buying with them at the moment, but I've just got to carry on. I don't have any other option. What it is making me do though is it's making me prefer paying a higher price to go to those business sellers, because all of the business sellers know this already, and all of the business sellers unlock the option to be able to choose their courier, and then they'll choose the main courier like Royal Mail, which is here in the UK, where I've not had any problems at all. So I feel like they're kind of forcing people to become business sellers, because then you have to pay more fees, more final value fees, and they're holding you ransom by being able to pick which courier you pick to dispatch your items. So just a little rant, a little bit of story time for PokePond. Those of you that are not new to the channel and have been here a while know that I can get on these tangents, and we love talking about story time here. Right, anyway, massively sidetracked. let's push on and have a look at what's going on. Completely lost my place. There we go. $250. Someone picked up a sealed Surging Sparks. Like I said, all-time high is like 310. So, and that was a couple of weeks ago. So someone got a really good deal there. Last sold in the UK 250 quid. So we're paying a little bit more here in the UK for it right now. Very briefly, going to talk about Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates is just kind of chilling at its all-time high. All-time high is knocking on the door of $300. Last sold is $285. Last week it was at $292, so technically down $7, but it's really not. We're seeing what we're seeing with other sets. It's just knocking on the door of 300. Again, like with 151, I think it's going to be very unlikely we're going to see any more Paldean Fates Elite Trainer boxes. Even if we do see a small restock of Paldean Fates ETBs, it's going to be so minimal that it's really not going to affect the price, in my opinion. I think Paldean Fates is going to be a bit of a creeper set, and it's just going to continue to rise over time. It's got two of the most iconic cards of the era with the Bubble Mew and the Dark Charizard. I think the Dark Charizard is one of the most undervalued cards of the era as well. I think it's fantastic. And I think that some of these dark themed cards are really right up my alley. I know that it's not everyone's cup of tea, but there are a lot of collectors that prefer that darker art style. You know, you've got the Dark Charizard there. I really like the Giratina from Lost Origin as well. That kind of like darker theme. Even the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved kind of has a bit of that darker theme as well with the Black Hollow too. So just my personal preference. I know there's a lot of collectors out there that like that kind of thing as well. I think that Charizard's going to perform really well in the long term. Let's move on and talk about Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces has been climbing for the last few weeks. Last week it was at $258. Now it's up there at $293, really starting to increase in price and pull ahead. Let's just calculate that out. So 293, 258. So what's that? That's 42 minus 7, 30, 37? Should we just use a calculator? It's too early in the morning to be doing those kind of sums. Right, 258 to 293. Right, 293. Oh. 293 minus 258. Whoa. 293 minus 258. There we go. 35. Okay. Was I right? What did I say? 37. Okay. I'm glad I used the calculator. Let's do things properly. Divided by 258. Up 13%. Temporal Forces. Really significant price rise on there. So it went from that, like I was saying, that 260, that mid to low range of where all the other boxes are, and then it shot right up. So now, actually, Temporal Forces is more expensive than Surging Sparks. It's more expensive than Journey Together. I don't know, guys. I hold quite a lot of Temporal Forces, so I'm not unhappy about seeing that. But does it deserve to be more expensive than Surging or Journey? Are Surging and Journey a little bit underpriced if we're looking at that? I don't know. You make your mind up on that one. Last sold in the US. There you go. Sales data. $280. New listing as well, so bought out straight away. Could we see an over $300 box coming soon? Last sold in the UK, £199. Very interesting. Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift is dropping down in price, and I couldn't be happier. I give Paradox Rift a hard time, and people get mad at me for giving Paradox Rift a hard time, but I don't like it as a set. I know a lot of people do. I just find it so funny that there's so many like smug people in my comment section that said when it shot up, look, it shot up here to like $324. So many people said to me that I'm an idiot and that Paradox Rift was the most obvious play in the market for 260, and then when it shot up to 320, bear in mind, all in hindsight, they've got no receipts for saying that at 260 that it was a good buy. They just wait until after it goes up in price to say it's a good buy. Anyone can do that, but it's right back down there again. Last sold 265. So it's basically wiped out all of the gains that it had over the last couple of weeks, and it's gone back to basically being one of the cheapest sets of the era at around about that 260 mark. So 265 for Paradox, 260 for Journey. I think Journey should be higher than Paradox in my opinion, even at this stage in the market. I know you're going to tell me that it's in a different block for printing and blah, 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 blah. I know. I still think that Journey should be higher than Paradox Rift. And also as well, like, Surgeon is not that far ahead of last sale on Paradox. So I think Surgeon should be a lot higher than it is right now as well, compared to what's around it. Last sold in the US, $260. Look at that, $260, guys. $260 is cheap compared to other Scarlet and Violet boxes. That's right down there at some of the cheapest boxes. In fact, it could be the cheapest box again of the era, which is where I think it should be, personally. Not that I don't think it won't go to over $300, $400 a box in time, but it shouldn't be over $300 a box right now, in my opinion. Last sold in the UK, £180. Still pretty reasonable. Not that much over retail, to be honest, for a set that is in that earlier print block, so will go out of print a lot sooner than some of the other Scarlet and Violet sets. So something to bear in mind. Personally, I don't own any of it, just because I think there's better places to put your money in, but it is a cheap box to pick up if you're interested in that kind of thing. That's what this channel is all about. This channel is all about giving you the information, giving you the data, so that you don't have to keep track of all of these tabs, of all of these products each and every week. You can just put me on for around about an hour every single week, podcast style. Maybe you're just relaxing, maybe you're chilling, unwinding at the end of perhaps a stressful work day, or just doing some housework and you want some Pokemon talk in the background. That's what this channel is all about, and make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Please do remember, if you have the product, you have the power. Do not let anyone else influence when you want to sell your product. If you own it, it is your choice. You can sell it whenever you want. You can sell it on day one of release if you really want. I just wouldn't tell too many people because they might get a little bit mad at you, especially in the comment section. Last sold in the UK for Twilight Masquerade. Why am I saying in the UK? We're talking about TCG Player. Twilight Masquerade then. Continuing to creep up in price and right up there at all-time highs. Last week it was at $327. This week, let's filter out all the photo listings, is at $323. So technically last sale is lower, but then we've got multiple sales before of 335, 340, 340, 345, which are all-time highs. So if you take the average, it's up. If you take the last sale, it's down a few dollars. Really wouldn't worry about Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade, we've been saying this for about a year, is just consistent growth. Look at this yearly chart when we zoom out. It is just a consistent climber. We love to see that. It has such a nice chase card as well with the Greninja. It's iconic. People love it. It's a fan favorite set. It is a bit Greninja or bust, but that's not necessarily a bad thing when you're looking at the sealed product. That's a bad thing when you're opening it, because your chances of turning a profit are very slim. However, with sealed product, it doesn't matter, because every box has the potential to have that Greninja in there, which is what's going to increase the price, or at least help influence the price. It doesn't fully determine it. There are other factors that increase the sealed product as well, and the sealed product over time, for those of you who are not aware, becomes a collectible within itself as well. So yeah, Twilight Masquerade basically up there at all-time highs. Very little sales data. Last sale a little bit lower, but all of the sales beforehand over the last week are all at all-time highs, right up there as high as 345, which is a significant jump. So yeah, Twilight Masquerade doing well. I think it will continue to perform well. I do think it's a top 5 set out of Scarlet and Violet, and we all know where top 5 sets go. Given a little bit of time, I think it will go to over $500 a box. Given it a really long amount of time, who knows, maybe it'll push $1,000, given enough years. And let's be realistic, guys. If you're talking $1,000 a box for Twilight Masquerade, most likely time horizon for that, over 5 years. Probably closer to 10 years. Unless there's a big buyout, which could always happen. But if it's just going to naturally climb, We're talking significant amount of years to get up to that $1,000 range, which would be closer to a 3x on where it is right now. That would take some significant time. Last sold in the US, $350. Last sold in the UK, £274. Let's then talk about Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved right up there at all-time highs. On sale a little bit this week. Last week it was at all-time high at, well, the week before was $476. Last week it was $472. This week, again, we're seeing similar here than what we saw with Twilight. Last sale, a little bit lower, $454. But then sale before, right up there at market, $470, $460, $450. So it's bouncing around $450 to $470. So I do think that anything around that $450 range is a good buy. Again, put it away. Put it away for a couple of years. It is one of the top sets. Paldea Evolved is like top 3 set of Scarlet and Violet. I think it will perform really well long term. I think people realise that it will be very unlikely to be reprinted in mass at this stage in its life cycle, and I think people realise that. It's right up there as it's currently the most expensive booster box of the era, but give Destined a bit of time. I'm telling you, give Destined a bit of time. I think it'll overtake Paldea Evolved. How long? I don't know. Could take a year for it to overtake it. I think it'll take much less time than that. Let's then talk about Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown, very little sales data. In fact, I think the graph is pretty much broken. For the last couple of weeks, it's showing dead on $262, but that's because there's been no sales apparently. But then if you actually look at the sales data here, you can see that it is selling. So last week, let's find it, the 4th, it was going for $297. Now it's going for $294. So it's just chilling at an all-time high, but keep an eye on Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown is knocking on that door of $300. It's already pulled ahead of stuff like Surgeon, Journey, Temporal, Paradox. Keep an eye on Stellar. I think it's a bit of a creeper. Obsidian Flames, similar situation. Not many people talk about it regularly. Great set in my opinion. I've said it since the beginning that Obsidian Flames is a great set. So many people said it was a terrible set when it came out. So many people hated on Obsidian Flames, and then as soon as it started going up in price a few months ago, all of a sudden they changed their tune. And they say, oh yeah, all along we said Obsidian Flames is a good buy. No, you didn't. Obsidian Flames is one of those sets where you could get it for below retail for ages. For a very long time, you could buy Obsidian Flames for below retail. Even on the secondary market, people were dumping it for cheaper than what they bought it for. Obsidian Flames is a good set. It's right up there. It's all-time high as well. Like with Stellar Crown, it's not really moving at the moment, but where it's up there, it's all-time high. It's in an excellent position to see some serious growth. Last week, it was at $331. This week, it's at $325. But then the sale before is $345, which is an all-time high. This is what I'm saying, guys. If you average it out, it hasn't moved, but it's right up there. And when sets hover at their all-time high, that's actually super positive. The fact that they hover and don't drop down just shows that it's got so much potential to climb up in price. I think that Obsidian Flames will do very well long term. Let's move on then to the big boys. Let's move on to the Sword and Shield era. Let's talk about Evolving Skies. We always have to start with Evolving Skies because it is the king of the jungle. Actually, no sales data on TCG Player over the last week, so we'll go have a look at eBay. Last sold on eBay US, $2,300. Yeah, it's cheap, guys. I know it doesn't seem cheap, but for Evolving Skies, that is cheap. Especially when we saw regular sales up there at that $2,600 mark. You're getting $300 off for a minty box of probably the best set of the last 8 years, 9 years. It's a no-brainer to me. If you've got that kind of bankroll, which some of you will, and if you don't own one, Evolving Skies is something else. I think that long term, Evolving Skies is going to follow in the footsteps of Tag Team. Tag Team is getting way up there in price. We did a interesting video the other week where we pointed out that a sealed Tag Team box, which is like 6 years old, is now more expensive than a sealed first edition Fossil box from 1999. Tag Team is leading the way with sealed product in the modern era, and I think that Evolving Skies will follow in its footsteps. Maybe even might surpass it one day, who knows. I do think Evolving Skies is destined to go to over $5,000 a box. It's just going to take some time, but as with Evolving Skies, and everybody knows this, it always outperforms expectations and it always climbs up in price so much quicker than people actually think it will. I remember at the start of the year, we said that by Christmas time, it was going to be $2,000 a box. It easily smashed that target. And now we're seeing sales in October for $2,300 and it's looking cheap. So that just goes to show how powerful Evolving Skies is as a set. Last sold in the UK, just a few pounds shy of 2,200 quid. Again, really positive for that, right up there at an all-time high here in the UK. Let's then talk about Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike has been flirting with $1,000 for a very long time. We have been calling this that it would have troubles with $1,000 to break through and it'll bounce around that, like we've seen with other sets with psychological points like 151 with the 400, stuff like that. Fusion Strike is just struggling with that $1,000 mark and it will continue to bounce around that. We did see sales at the end of last month, at the end of September, a little bit over $1,000, but now it's just magneted back down to $1,000. That's just normal thing to happen. $1,000 is a very round number and it's hard for people to justify spending more than $1,000 because $1,010 just seems so much more than $999. That's all it is. However, give it a little bit more time, another month, maybe 2 months. I think that it will shoot over $1,000 and then have quite an easy run up to its next sort of price resistance, which is probably going to be around about $1,200, I think. But it'll have a lot easier time breaking through $1,200 than it does $1,000 in my opinion. But I do think it's going that way. Last sold in the US. There you go. Look, perfect example. eBay last sold from yesterday, $1,100 on the nose. So it is selling over $1,000. Just give it a little bit of time and I think it will break out. It will go $1,200, $1,400, $1,500 is probably going to be a big sticking point for it. But give it some time. 6 months to a year, I think it will be up at that $1,500 range. And it might seem like that's not much when it's selling for $1,100. That's a 50% increase in price on one box that takes up very little space. I think that Fusion Strike is an excellent buy right now. Last sold in the UK, £695. Another one from, and that was from this morning actually, and it's only 10 a.m. So someone got a good deal on that one because the sale before it from 2 days ago is £735. There we go. So let's move on to Lost Origin. Lost Origin is another one of those sets that I think is massively undervalued. I think that it will follow in the footsteps of Fusion Strike. I put them into the same sort of era. They are almost like brothers. If Fusion Strike is pushing up over $1,000, I feel like Lost Origin is not going to be far behind it. At the moment though, it's just chilling at its all-time high. It's chilling at $772 is the cheapest that I've seen it sell for a little while. Two sales in the last 7 days. The one from last week, which was on the 5th, so 6 days ago, Sunday of last week, went for $812, and then we're at $772. So it's like $40 off, which is about 5%. So Lost Origin down about 5% this week, and I don't think it's justified at all. There's just not that much sales data. Last sold in the US on an auction, $720. On a buy it now, $800. So $800 is right up there around its all-time high. That's where market is on a buy it now. But just look at the difference in price. 2 sales, same day, difference between a buy it now and an auction, $80 off, more than 10% off just between an auction and a buy it now. I think that they're both undervalued. I think that Fusion should be pushing up quite a bit over 1,000 now. It should be pushing up to that $1,200 range, and I think that Lost Origin should be at that 1,000 mark, trying to break 3,000. And I think it will come probably by Christmas, in my opinion. But we'll just have to wait and see the time horizon. On this channel, I make a lot of predictions, as you're probably aware because you've made it this far through my content. My predictions almost always come true. That's not saying they always will do. We are just using data to make the best assumption on what is going on with prices. When I give you time horizons though, that's almost impossible to predict. I have been pretty accurate with my time horizons with these sets, but just bear in mind that if I say a box like Lost Origin is probably going to go up over $1,000, I'm very confident in saying that, and I wouldn't say it if I wasn't. However, if I say it will probably happen by Christmas, that is just a stab in the dark. That is just possibly, maybe it will happen by Christmas, i.e. I wouldn't be surprised if it would, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it takes until March or summer next year. It's not that I don't have the faith that the product will get there to that price point. It's that guessing the time horizon is almost impossible in this hobby because it's affected by so many different things. So please take time predictions with a pinch of salt. They are that, just predictions. Price predictions I'm a little bit more confident on because we're looking at the data. Okay, just had to put that out there. So yeah, last sold in the US $720, looks cheap to me. I think that it will go to 1,000 a box at some point in the near future. Last sold in the UK 650 quid for a minty box, and there's another one here going for 660, both 2 days ago. Let's then move on to Astral Radiance. Astral Radiance is very quickly becoming the unpopular set that I like to root for. I like to root for the underdog, and I'm so happy to see it right up there at all-time highs. Last week it was averaging, last week it was averaging $405, and now it's up there at $450. So yeah, $45. I don't even need a calculator. That's just under 10%. That's about 9.5% rise on Astral Radiance, and it's over its all-time high. So really happy to see that climbing. I like Astral Radiance. It isn't the most popular set, but sometimes it's not all about the most popular set to put away. Sometimes those are the easy plays to make, but it's all about supply and demand. If people aren't putting away Astral Radiance, or not many people are, then in 5 years' time, if you've got a box, you're going to control the market because you're going to be able to name your price because there's not going to be that many for sale. And even if there are a few for sale that are listed in 5 years, 10 years, how many of them are for market, or how many of them are for way over market because they're trying to control the price and control things? I know from personal experience, from owning boxes that aren't very desirable for their first 4 years, 5 years, when you sell it 6 years after it's out of print on a not super desirable set, you control the price. You can charge what you want. And sometimes that's something to bear in mind with sealed product. I like Astral Radiance. I think it gets a bad rap for the set compared to what's around it. I don't think it's a bad set. I think it's pretty cheap right now. And we're seeing some price strength. The fact that it dropped down in price after the big run up and it's just recovered that in not too much time, in a couple of months, and then gone right back up to all-time highs again. I like Astral, and I think you can get bargains on it because people do dump it and take profit because they'd rather roll their money into like more popular things. $389 last sold in the US. Last sold in the UK, 312 quid. 312 quid, guys. Like, you need to think about what you can buy for 312 quid around it in the modern era. You could get a Mega Evolution booster box and some change. A little bit of change. You couldn't even buy a Destined Rivals box for that. And Destined Rivals is still well in print. Now, I'm not saying an Astral Radiance box is better to buy as an investment as Destined Rivals, because I think Destined Rivals is amazing. But just put that into perspective, what you can buy around it for that kind of price point. It's completely out of print. You're not going to get any more of it. It's going to be quite a rare box in 5 to 10 years' time, I think. I don't think there's going to be many around, and if there are some around, I think that people will be asking silly prices for them. Maybe you want to be one of those people that are asking silly prices. Sounds good to me. Last sold, what am I talking about last sold? Let's move on to Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars then, we will talk about very briefly. It's just chilling at an all-time high. It's flirting with $500. You can see last sales $489, $499, $555, $563, $564. Just chilling at that 500 mark. Had some sales above it over the last few weeks. Now it's glued back down to 500. I won't repeat myself. Psychological price point. It's going to bounce around 500 once it successfully gets over 500 for a significant amount of time. I think that will be that, and you'll never see it for 500 again, and it'll probably have quite an easy climb up to around about 750 sort of range. And part of that is going to be due to the fact that Lost Origin and Fusion are going to be pushing up $1,000 plus, and then that's going to help pull up Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest, which are also brothers as well, and they're sort of like the next two behind the pairing of Fusion and Lost Origin. That's how I like to think of it, and they will be pulled up as Lost Origin and Fusion start to push over those $1,000 marks regularly. That's how I see the market going anyway. Last sold on Brilliant Stars, $540 in the US. In the UK, £414. Decent price point, right up there at all-time highs. Will continue to climb and have another good 12 months, I think. Silver Tempest, similar situation. Up at that $500 mark. However, it's never broken ahead of it, so it's a little bit behind its brother Brilliant Stars. But now it's up there at that 500. Last sale 500. I think it will flirt with 500 for another couple of weeks. Psychological price point, won't repeat myself. Last sold in the US, $550, $530. New listing buyout for $530. That's healthy to see that it got bought out straight away. Last sold in the UK, 469 quid, 500 quid. Those are all-time highs here in the UK. Very briefly, I'll talk about Chilling Reign because people shout at me if I don't talk about Chilling Reign every week. The reason why I don't talk about all sets every week is because it's not moving. Look, no change in price, right up there. $500, same problem. Same problem. On the average price charts though, it's right up there at 569, but it's not. Sales are 500, 523, 525. So it was above 500 and now it's gone back down to the floor price of 500. Like I said, the ceiling of 500, you'll bounce off of it for a while and then it becomes the floor. I don't think Chilling Reign is going to drop below $500. I think $500 is the floor price now. Someone got a good deal for 500 and they picked up two for 500 there. So there we go. I'm going to finish off the episode by doing what we quite often do now, where we just talk about something different. We see what's going on in the sealed market. What I have done today is what I sometimes do, where I just go onto eBay US and we search for Pokemon. We filter to sold, we filter to new, and we just see what's selling. And today's episode, I got caught my attention is this little beauty here, which we do happen to actually own one of, which we are very fortunate to own. It's a Destined Rivals PC ETB, and just look at what price it's selling for now. We very rarely track a PC ETB prices here on the channel because they are highly volatile in price, but look at that. Team Rocket Destined Rivals PC ETB, very iconic PC ETB. I love it when PC ETBs sort of like change the design or change the colors for the PC. It just makes it more iconic. with the red and the black. It's so cool. Personally, what I would have liked to have seen is the normal one being red and then the PCETB being the black. I think that would have looked even better. But yeah, right up there in price. Very fortunate to own one. Selling for $400 nearly. Bear in mind, this has been out for like 3 months, guys. Where do you think this PCETB is going to go in the long term? $1,000 a box? I think so, but how long? That's the thing. That's the real question that no one knows the answer for. How long before a Destined Rivals PCETB goes to $1,000? It's a hell of a run for it to get there. And we are in a massive bull market at the moment. But I think it would take a significant amount of time to get there. 2 years, 3 years. Still a good investment in my opinion, and actually an amazing display piece. Very happy to own one. I did have it on display behind me, you can't see, but I don't anymore, just because it's so special to me. I had to put it away, I had to protect it. On my shelf behind me right now, although you can't see, I actually have 2 PCETBs. The new Mega Evolution PCETBs are taking its place. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'm going to leave it there. Please do hit the thumbs up button. It costs you nothing. You've watched all of my content, so you are an MVP for getting to this point. You are one of my favourite people. Please return the favour for all the free content just by hitting the thumbs up button. Really helps, pushes the content out there further, and it means we can help other people. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and peace.